Convincing the Cowboy Billionaire, a Chappell Brothers novel. Bluegrass Ranch, Book 8. Written by Emmy Eugene. Narrated by Dana Day with Daytime Productions. Chapter 1. Ian Chappell's hands slipped, and the hay bales he'd been carrying tipped. "Whoa!" he yelled as he felt himself slanting to the right. He stumbled that way, abandoning the bale he'd started to bobble. The window loomed right there, and he had a flash of himself falling out of it, tumbling 3 stories to his death below. He managed to hurl the hay bale onto the conveyor and catch himself as his hand came down against the wall. "Coming your way," he called, just as he bashed his shin against a metal beam in the loft. All kinds of swear words streamed through his mind, but none came out of his mouth. Mom would be so proud. He instantly took all the weight off his right leg, realizing that idiotic beam had probably saved him from going out the window. But holy mother of pearl, it had just injured him something fierce. "You okay?" someone asked, but Ian had forgotten who he was working with in the loft. He definitely took his turn doing chores around the family-owned and operated ranch, and he'd never minded loading hay onto the conveyor belt to get it out of the loft and where it needed to go. He blinked, the pain still shooting up into his hip and radiating down into his foot. His toes tingled, as if he'd hit a nerve, and he steadied himself against the wall of the barn and pulled in a breath. He didn't dare put any weight on his foot, though. "Yeah," he managed to say, glancing over to Lawrence, one of his brothers. Someone yelled from below, and Lawrence turned to see what they wanted. They were probably mad about the double bale coming on the belt, but Ian had warned them. His fingers ached from the way he'd been clenching them around twine and lifting 50-pound bales for the past hour. He tried putting weight on his right leg, but his shin gave a violent protest in the form of another blinding wave of pain. He groaned and collapsed onto the nearest thing, which, of course, was the bale of hay he'd had in his left hand. He'd been injured dozens of times on the ranch. Spur, his oldest brother, barely had any feeling left in his fingertips for how often he touched hot things. Blaine, the second oldest brother in the Chappell family, had once broken his leg and then worked on crutches for 8 weeks. Daddy sure didn't see a reason not to be out in the fields or stables, broken legs or not. He had taken a break a couple of years ago, when he'd had hip surgery, but Ian...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?